Hey, welcome to the next episode of Crow Tribe Conversations. You're going to see a pit bull behind Pam, and that's perfectly normal.
I thought I was the pit bull.
No,
I thought you said you're going to see a pit bull. That's me.
No. So I have a very sweet 80-pound pit bull female over there with pearls on. So welcome, Pam Hurst.
Thank you so much.
We've done this before. Those of you who've seen, Pam was the first long-form Crow Tribe conversation. We just let it flow. It was on Zoom,
well,
so it
that
goes back
sounds
and forth.
about right. Yes.
Well, I liked it though.
Both of us can talk a good amount. So,
yes. And I'm going to try to really be. If I could have one of those things that counts, I want to listen more than talk, because you got a great voice. We got great stuff to tell, and anyway. So if some of that comes out, that's my hope. So
I would like to listen more than talk too. So maybe this will be
next time
really short.
No, we're going to mix it up. So.
Awesome.
I have my intent.
Yeah.
What I want to do with this is, well, we all make a living, but I'm more interested in it just as I am professionally with what people are like, and then we figure out how to work together, but to not lead with what we do, right? That's not as fun to me. So, and for those who are listening or watching this, I want to kind of cultivate that curiosity in each other.
Definitely.
And some of you've heard me say in some of our business meetings that really what I want to get people to lean forward and wonder about otherness, other people, whether it's culture or gender or all this stuff.
What makes people tick? What makes them think the way they do?
Yeah.
Or what drives them? I think about that a lot, actually.
Say more.
What drives people and what their inspiration is. Yeah, that's huge.
Run with it, Pam.
I'm going to run with it just a little bit. In my work, sometimes I meet people at some of the worst times they've ever been through. And I help them through that in the different ways that I do. What do I do every day to keep my inspiration going, to keep my own sanity sane, to keep my own perspective? And I'm not in the healthcare world, but I kind of get the whole doctor heal thyself thing after doing what I've done for some time. Also, that's one bullet point, or one avenue, I should say, that we could start talking down. An additional one, even more nuanced, richer, a bigger avenue with plenty of avenues off of it, is the concept of inspiration. Like what drives you every day? Why do you get up in the morning? And how do you take care of yourself when your own life has some of those worst days? So we have the business that I run, my clients, how to take care of them, etc., without just starting to drag my knuckles on the floor. Oh, I can't do this anymore.
Maybe it'd be good for context to state for those who didn't see the last episode.
Right.
You have a business where you do
help others.
And say what that is for these folks.
So that's Arm's Reach, personal crisis assistance, and I come alongside anyone going through a major life change and help them. Administrative help, practical help, two different areas, and all and any are available to any client. So personal assistance, you could hire a personal assistant right now. A lot of people have virtual assistants to help them run their businesses. I can do that, but personal crisis assistance is a different thing. It's really designed for people on their worst day. This is why and I'm trying to remain somewhat cohesive in what I say today, Brian. I'm trying to wrap it together, but that goes back to the doctor heal thyself thing, right? Yeah. So if I'm doing personal crisis assistance day after day. How am I taking care of my own self in that, right? Making sure that my view of the world is not tainted by the emergency phone calls that I get. See what I mean?
Yeah. So,
and the other avenue that I touched on but didn't really name is the concept of codependence, which I have been studying on and learning on a great deal. Again, trying to do my best to take care of myself. So this video really, I mean, it was supposed to be all about me. It really is all about me.
That's what I want. That's what I want. So.
Well, and as business owners, I mean, this is for me why the Crow Tribe is so important. For business owners, we have a lot to do. And who's taking care of us? Who's taking care of us besides our family, our household, our, your chorused Crow tribe, right? Your closest tribe. Who is taking care of us in many of the things that you are out on your own in many ways. And codependence is very common among caregivers of any kind. Codependence meaning I can't be okay unless you're okay. That's my very boiled down definition of it.
Okay.
So anyway, taking care of me, huge job. I cannot possibly be a business owner or anything else. And my chief aim in life is not to only be a business owner, right? Sure. I can't be a good family member, a good friend, a good business owner without proper care of myself. And that's huge, especially when you're going to run a business like mine. I think in running a business like yours, you can't be staying awake at night worrying about your clients. That's bad for your health.
The thing that I say to myself so often is you can't pour from an empty cup. You got to go do something. So, and I think of somehow my mind goes to the single mother of 5 kids. There's so much to take care of, and
that's okay, Brian. I'm a single mother of 2 kids.
Well, so you get it, and I'm sympathetic to that. Well, just understanding some people they just got to get through the next day,
right?
And in my case, sometimes when people, like in this political world, some people don't know what the heck's going on. They don't have time, and I say, you know what? I do allow for some people. It takes everything they can to just get through the next day.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially the single mom of 5 kids. They don't have time to watch the news.
Yeah.
So I allow for that. And not get chippy.
That's so funny because I remember being in that spot exactly. Like I've been through, as I've described in NLWBC meetings and otherwise many times before. I started this business because of I was doing my day job. I was doing my 8 to 5 day job and on the side, navigating a bunch of really big personal life changes. And through that experience, first of all, I learned how to do a lot of things I didn't know how to do. And I also saw the need and the way to take my life and turn it into maybe something that could be helpful and useful to other people, a resource I didn't have while going through all that time as a single parent. By surprise, wasn't intending being in the hospital, wasn't intending the health changes, wasn't intending the income changes, all sorts of things that went along with losing a spouse, losing my job multiple times. I've been laid off from every single W-2 job I've had in this state, and that's over 25 years of layoffs. So
you came up with this on your own, or somebody say, "Hey, Pam, because you got technical chops that you don't tout quite a bit, so you got some skills that are
that's why
skills. Starting
a business was even in my mind, that was why starting my own business was even on the table. I think that if I didn't, and that's actually an interesting insight into myself, I wonder if I would have been willing to start the business if I didn't have the technical chops. Like I know I've taught software classes for some of the largest corporations in the world for 20 years before starting this business. I am very familiar with software applications of all kinds, all shapes and sizes. Some very heavy duty, some stuff you use every day. Either way, if you put something in front of me and said, Pam, this is what we use at our business, can you help us clean this up? Yes, absolutely.
Probably so.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And you were not forthcoming with that when we first met. I think it was some months into our relationship where wait a minute,
like,
you got
what?
some,
Oh, it surprises people all the time. They're like, you did what? And I'll turn the laptop around and I'll be like, you mean this? But, and that was by accident. My career took that path by accident. I didn't grow up, go to college and say, I want to be a software instructor. That was something that came out of need and out of just right place, right time. My degree at university was in telecommunications and radio, television, film. So like this stuff, except the creative end of it, right? Not the technical. I'd be like the on-air writing the interview. That's why I want to really interview you, because
change seats if we need to next time.
That's right. Writing the interview questions, interviewing people, doing reporting on air. That's what I learned in college. But anyway, it wasn't software instruction. It wasn't computer science, I should say.
But that suffice to say, that stuff was not intimidating to you or an obstacle. Like, I can do that if that's needed to run this business.
It was kind of,
some people like, I could never do that, right?
It's like a lot of things that I think that happen to anyone right out of college. You graduate college, you think I definitely want a job doing this. Mm-hmm. Then you start doing a job doing that over there, and you learn skills, and you get a different job doing that over there, and maybe you still do some of what you originally intended. Maybe you go a whole other direction. So that's how I got the software experience. My first job out of college was working in running the special events at a huge university that I graduated from. I was a 2-person team. Me and my boss, we ran all the special events for the office of the chancellor. That's above the president. That's on par with the Board of Regents. It's like the king. It was like planning the king's parties, basically. And I did that for a couple of years. And my boss was the glad hander. She knew every donor. She shook every hand. She knew all of their families, their grandchildren, their nieces, she knew all of them. She had nobody keeping records. And I built the first database for that department because there wasn't one. And we had no idea who had paid, who had not paid. And I was her little underling. I was 21 years old. She's like, can you plan the next party? And I need some way to keep track of who we've contacted about donating and et cetera. And that was the beginning of more heavy duty software experience than what I had from before.
You think about a 21-year-old kid today, when I think of, we now that I'm 65, but I think, and I was just meeting my buddies, we became friends when we were 15. And this is going to tie into that same point.
Yeah.
A lot of us tend to dismiss somebody who's 21 or 15. I think, wait a minute, I was a whole lot more like I am today than I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
And getting together with my buddies just a few weeks ago, we were 15, 16 years old, and to not dismiss those people.
Right.
Thankfully, that woman recognized Pam's 21, but she can do this. And there's people more capable and more fully formed when you're young than a lot of grown-ups give them credit for.
That's a very positive way of describing her, Brian. When I look back, I think she was more like, oh, hell no, I'm not touching that thing. Yeah. You do it. You do it. You're new. You're the kid. I would much rather go have tea with Mrs. Whatever than
keep track of
do this nonsense. So,
there's an aspect of that I kind of want to dig into a little bit, that you had thought of yourself being the interviewer and the on air.
Oh yeah.
And I'm in my last our last podcast, I was talking to Declan Michaels, and we both shared an intrigue with interviewers. And I have talked about, and some of the inspiration for this was that the kind of conversations, and I use the example of Howard Stern. Well, like him or not, okay, you don't know nothing's off the table, right? But the guy's also sometimes he's okay, it's just coarse and not cool. Mm-hmm. But sometimes he really connects with people.
He's dialed in. He's dialed into his interviewees.
So if you want to see the unexpected, you might tune into that.
Yeah.
But that level of, and there are other people, and so I'm intrigued with that.
Yeah.
What are some why did you want to do that? And what are some interviewers that you maybe thought about back then? Because I'm intrigued with anybody who's curious and any form of curiosity about otherness.
Yeah. No, so to answer that question, like the first thing that makes sense to me to answer it is to say that in college, I never had trouble picking a major. Never. Like I never wondered, what am I interested in? I knew from the start I wanted to study communications, which encompassed journalism, like broadcast journalism, writing, very important to me. Something for us to get into, writing, and my current project there.
Okay.
Writing and radio, TV, film, all of it was about information. I wanted to be the one to go gather the information and organize it in such a way, write it, summarize it, put it out there in such a way that other people can learn what I learned, that can hear what I heard, can see what I saw. That was intriguing to me. And I loved I wanted to be a television newscaster, a television interviewer, right? Those were my goals. I wanted to be on the Today Show as a kid. I'm like, today I could do that. I could do that. Because I wanted to have different people come sit in the chair and just ask them questions and learn things from them and have that be available to other people to listen to and hear.
So was there somebody you saw? The Today Show's been around forever. So was that the example, or were there other personalities or people who are good at asking questions?
I don't know that I had one person who I loved their interviewing skills the best. It was more the job. I'm like, you see what they do every day? They have this person come in and they have a little background on them and they ask some questions and then they just let them go. That job was super interesting to me. So yeah, I didn't have one hero or not. There were people I liked more than others.
Let me twist this into the more down on the guts personal level. I have observed, if you go to a Chamber of Commerce thing and you see people, I've observed it's so rare that you hear somebody asking somebody else a question. Pretty typically, especially if they're professional environments, people want to get their elevator speech out and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've used it as kind of like a little drinking game, even if it's just tea, the first one to hear 5 questions is getting the next cup of coffee. I'll do something like that.
Right.
But that's what I mean. And I have a friend who was kind of pestering about asking questions. And he later revealed, he's one of my, dearest friends, but it was his way to be defensive. So somebody wouldn't ask him.
Oh, I see.
But it also,
I
remember leaving going, wow, that guy just comes at you. And so he had a little neurosis in that. But it also, he and I are both curious, and now we didn't have anything to defend.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about. When people, not for a profession, but what's it like to be Pam?
Right.
Which is kind of that's what I want to learn today.
Yeah.
Because I just asked Dawn, who can probably hear this. My wife's out there somewhere, and she's rolling her eyes right now. Maybe you can hear that sound. That's the sound of her rolling her eyes. Oh my God, he's doing it again.
If rolling your eyes could only make a sound, that's a whole other conversation. But I'm on that.
To be annoyingly curious.
Yeah.
So I really do wonder, what's it like to be Pam? And anybody I think about even for a second.
Right.
So those kinds of things, not for the profession, but in what you do, you got to wonder about the people you're helping at least a little bit, and maybe
all the time. And so that introduction of what you were just talking about leads into, as I hear it leads into the topic of listening. What is listening like to you? What is the importance of listening? Do you ask questions because you want an answer that you are interested in listening to? Or do you ask questions to spout something out so that there's to fill the silence? And so that there's no question coming back to you. Yeah. So listening is what I hear as a theme in that, and listening is huge. You cannot do what I do without being interested in and being a very good listener. And when you learn listening as a skill, when you learn listening as a skill and you practice it, it is not so hard in a pretty short period of time to hear what people are actually saying, to hear what's actually important to them. In my work in crisis assistance, you need to know that they are in pain and hear the pain, but as gently and yet as quickly as you can, get to the first and number one thing they need that can help them, that you can do for them. So that's in the professional world. So I went back to my professional world to answer that question about listening. But I have a story about listening and how this interviewing, being curious enough and wanting to know about other people has played out in real life more than once. I can't remember if I've shared any of these stories with you before or not.
Redundancy is okay because people are shitty listeners because they're busy. So let's have it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We need to take a break. Okay, come on.
No. Wow. These experiences I'm about to tell you about are like the life-changing ones that have nothing to do with my profession. I am the type of person that people will come up to and talk to. I'm also the type of person, and that's just natural. I didn't plan that, I didn't try to do that. If you have 10 people standing on the street and you need to ask directions for someone, everybody comes to me. They all come to me. Excuse me, if it's happened once, it's happened a million times. So I'm approachable. People come up and talk to me. People also, when they are talking to me, tend to divulge a lot.
Whether you ask for it or not.
When I don't ask for it, okay? Yeah, no, it's all good. But I had this conversation. If I live 1,000 years, I will never forget this guy. I was in the grocery store, okay? I'm staring at like canned beans, right? In the grocery store, it's a busy enough time, not super busy. And there's a guy standing next to me also staring at the beans. He was probably 65 if he was a day, right? He's just doing his shopping. And there's other people walking by and there's a noise. We both hear a noise outside in the parking lot and it sounds like a large construction truck dropping something on the ground. It wasn't a tragedy. It wasn't like a car crash. It was just like a loud
or something.
Yeah, a thud or
okay.
They were doing some work on the roof and we both look out. And he's standing here. We both look out the door at the same time. And then we realize it's okay. And we're back to center. And he goes, oh, man, that scared me a bit. I thought that was. And he goes into this story. It's like, I thought that sounded just like the roofing truck that I used to work on years ago. Actually, I built it. And he's not going this fast. It took him a little while. But he's like, yeah, I used to work on I worked for years inspecting the roofs. I've inspected the roof on this building. And he starts telling story after personable guy. He's fun-loving, personable guy. He was not talking to me before though. He just noticed this sound.
So what are you doing? You're just holding your can of beans and going, or what's
No, I'm standing there. I'm standing there and he starts talking and I'm like, yeah. And we just, we're just light banter at first. And somehow he got going into like more stories and more stories. And I ask leading questions as he got going.
All right. Okay. So you're culpable here.
Okay. Oh yeah. No, I did. Like I sat there and I'm just like, I wonder how long this guy will talk.
Well, that was
and I asked leading questions. I didn't have anywhere else to be.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I want to hear. So I didn't tell him, ooh, tell me more. Ooh, I didn't therapist couch him or anything.
Get his name and any first name or anything of that?
Nope.
Just kept it distant. Hey,
he did tell me his name. I would remember his face, but I can't remember. He told me his first name. It took him he must have talked to me for 45 minutes.
What?
He told me his entire life. He told me everything about him. I know more about him than his kids know. I know he has kids. I know who he's dating. I know he's dating because he goes to go and he's like, and what's your name anyway? I'm like, I'm Pam.
At the very end?
At the end. I go, I'm Pam. He goes, Pam, I'm dating a Pam. Then I have to hear about who he's dating and his girlfriend's daughter and oh my God. But he was a person with a lot of stories and was willing, didn't maybe need to tell them, but was willing to share them if somebody would listen. And they were fascinating. So
he was an interesting guy.
He was interesting. And again, I just wanted to see how much he would tell me if I stood there until he was done.
And he didn't ask you anything except your name, and that was after 45 minutes. Is that right?
That's all Brian's thinking of.
No,
how
well, that's what I'm
him?
curious about. But a lot of people, I think, of in your business, so you will provide a service.
Oh, yeah.
But even in my business, sometimes people just want to be heard.
They do.
And
they do.
And that's what's gratifying. Then we might actually do some transactions.
Well, and I'm sorry for interrupting.
Well, that's the point. I think that's the thing. That's such an important thing.
Oh my gosh.
And here's where I was going with the interview. Sometimes I hear something like, oh, I can relate to that person. It just feels better that somebody else is having that struggle.
Yeah.
Even in, as a married dude.
Right.
There's some aspect of that single mom of 5 kids.
Right. Right.
Okay, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
The thing. That's an example of a thing I was getting at.
Absolutely. No, it was like he would go down a rabbit hole and start describing a story, and I would validate something and I'd be like, well, and it sounds like you were trying to fix that problem or whatever it was. I said, and he's like, yeah. And then he goes into that explanation. And it was fascinating to hear someone's entire life story told to you by a stranger in front of cans of beans at the Safeway. And people were walking through and coming and going. And there was one guy who was there for a few minutes.
Oh,
what?
I thought maybe they're in the way. Okay.
No. There's people would walk down the aisle and they could hear us still types of conversation at the grocery store. There was one guy who was he had to lean down on the bottom shelf and he was there for just a minute and he's trying to pick out some beans and stuff. And we both finally, so I knew I was aware there were people around, but when I'm having a conversation with the person I'm having a conversation with. Yeah. I am not logging other faces and not names, but faces are very much, right? So the guy I'm talking to, I want to say his name was Mike. It could have been Mike. Hi, Mike. If you're out there, Mike, you're amazing. Good job.
We know how to find you, Mike.
Good job. Yeah, you can come be on Crow Conversations if you'd like to join, the Crow tribe. Mike and I say bye. I didn't see him again. I'm at all through the whole store. I'm he must have been done, or that was it. He put the bean back on the shelf and walked out the door because he couldn't handle buying anything after that. I mean, both of us were it was a very strong, it was very, not heavy, but a huge emotional conversation, actually, because of him telling me his whole life. I can't, not in a bad way, not in a burdensome way. So I'm done. I go through the store. I go to the self-checkout lane. And by that time, my head is just full of I can't believe that just happened.
But you're having good feelings.
Not burdensome. Okay. It's not burdensome at all. It was amazing. But I am also done with talking to people.
You need to take a break.
I'm done with talking to people. And there's a guy in front of me in line, and he turns around and he turns around again, and he turns around and he goes, "Hey." I'm like, "Hi, how's it going?" He's like, "Good." And he looks at me like, "Don't you know who I am?" I was it, and I
one of the can of beans guys that
right, one of the can of beans guys, and I'm like, "Good, how are you?" And he's like, "Good," and he looks at me like. I listened to that whole conversation and I'm just staring at him and I'm just like, yep, nope, got nothing. I said nothing.
Been there, we're done.
He looked at me like, are you going to say, I'm like,
nope.
And he went to his checkout stand and I went to mine and I walked out of there and I'm like, wow, mind blown.
So there's an example. I think I've shared with you recently, somebody that I've recently discovered, a young, or I don't know what age this woman is. She's got an interesting name, Thoraya, Thoraya. And
Raya.
she asks some really interesting questions. And one of those, she has a YouTube channel, podcast kind of stuff. And sometimes the question, one of those is, what's a memory of a stranger you'd like to meet again? And I'm thinking of your story. That Mike probably goes back in 2000 whatever. I met
Brian,
this woman who listened to my story. You.
I have dozens of them.
My point is,
I'm not kidding. I have
those
dozens.
Are profoundly important things.
Oh yeah,
and that you have that is part of the reason we're friends. Is that you've got another level of consciousness that I appreciate.
So it's really gratifying. I could have walked away from that conversation at any moment. I kept asking him questions, or I kept going to the next thing. After he said something, I went to the next thing, and he would go fill in the blank. And I went to the next thing after that. I think that he would have let me ask him any question.
See why she's so intriguing? And this is why we're friends. So we do, and we don't have to do it all at once. So
yes,
you've got places to be, things to do, people to see.
Yes.
And we've come somewhere around the half-hour mark, I think, give or take. But how about, how would you like to wrap things up for the next time, or plan to see for a future conversation?
So something that I am thinking on and running through my head, making part of a regular practice lately, is the concept of inspiration, right? And one thing that inspires me every single day is I'm going to try to wrap this up and make this short. That's difficult. That's difficult. But inspiration for me springs from living all of life there is today, right?
Don't say for tomorrow.
No, it's more just kind of like, right now, I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you, you can see outside, it's fall, some of the leaves are changing. Live life today. Live life today. Don't get caught too far in the past all the time, too far in the future all the time. Be in the present. I'm not sure that I hear that phrase a lot, but what I connect to more is, what do I love about right this minute? And for right this minute, am I completely okay? Am I okay? And am I taken care of? Yes. Yes. And that is a great source of inspiration for me. Live life today. What do I have today? Okay. Are those things really good? Yes. Yes.
I think about all those little things. I have coffee. I have clothes. I have friends.
A house to live in.
I had a meal today. So
yes. Yeah. So living today for all of what today has got in it, and really trying to let go of the worry of the, oh my God, I've got all this work to do. I've got all these things to heal from that have happened. I've got all of this planning to do for what might be ahead. What about today? And if I can stay in what is good about today, I'm doing great. I will continue to find the inspiration for any of the more difficult things I need to face whenever I need to face them.
Love it. Let's let that be the wrap up for today.
Okay.
Thank you, Pam, for making
Brian.
Another great Grow Tribe conversation.
Awesome.
If you want to talk to Pam, go to nlwbc.org. We'll get you hooked up. She's got a great business, but she's a great person doing great things, and with a wonderful heart and how she approaches it. And maybe she'll be out at the store if you're shopping for a can of beans.
Oh my God.
Look around
and you can just
maybe that's her.
Say hi and start talking, because I'm going to let you.
All right. See you next time, everybody.